The Clippers are going to inbound on the near side. 6.8 left. Highland throws it to Kevin Porter Jr. He's got 16 today. Will he shoot it? He will not. And that closes the books. The Denver Nuggets win the second half 72-51 and come away with a 120-98 victory as the Clippers fall in Denver for the first time in a year. Well, for Jesse Trujillo, Dan Collins, Carlo Jimenez, we're going to hand the keys to Adam Oslin and Katie Newton back in the studio. See you in a few. Our final here from Ball Arena. The Clippers get 15 from Harden, 16 from Norman Powell, 16 off the bench from Kevin Porter Jr., and 13 from Bones Highland as they fall to the Nuggets 120-98. Here in your Clippers Audio Network.
Clippers fall by 22 in Denver. Final score 120-98 in favor of the Nuggets. Welcome in. I'm Adam Oslin. This is your post-game show. Coming up, we got your final box score and Clippers talk on AM 570 LA Sports. If you want to get on early, 866-987-2570. But first, let's get back out to Ball Arena with your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, this Clippers team and James Harden in particular just came out a little bit flat. They weren't crisp with their passes outside of a couple possessions where they had some great touch passes going on, but that wasn't the norm. Unfortunately, this team turned the ball over far too often for the best team when it comes to fast break points in the league in the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets finish with 36 fast break points, Adam. Not only did they finish with 36 fast break points, here's the bigger number to me. They go 16 for 18 in fast break. So the Clippers, I mean, it's just a free buckets every single time Denver's able to get in the fast break. That's a tough one for this Clipper team to swallow. They're such a good half-court defense. It's why they emphasize, hey, let's get back every single time in half court, because then we'll have an opportunity to play with our best defense, which we saw, Adam. When the Clippers played half-court defense, they forced 18 steals today. I mean, their half-court defense is phenomenal. It's just getting back that has been the issue for this Clipper team. That's why this one probably feels they played a lot better than the score would tell you, which is something you brought up. Because of how good that half-court defense was in this game, it really was those fast break points that cost them the game. I mean, you lose by 22 and you give up 36 fast break points. There's your math right there.
And it was really their offense penalizing their defense, because those turnovers put their defense in really tough positions where you have to scramble to get back against the best team in transition in the league. As you put it, they made them pay 16 for 16 in fast break points for the Denver Nuggets, leading to a total of 36. It just seemed like the Clippers, and James Harden specifically, we talked about this at the end of the broadcast, but I asked Coach Lou about why he struggled so much in second quarters about a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. He said, well, it takes time for him to ramp back up after playing the entire first quarter. He comes back in around the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. He just doesn't have the same tempo and rhythm out there. So what's going to happen when he has 8 days off? Well, I think we got our answer in this one. It just looked like James Harden was not quite as crisp as he has been for this Clippers team over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think there's something to say, Adam, and we've talked about this on the broadcast, but rust is real. I mean, rust is real in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets, this is their first win on 2 or more days of rest. I think we brought up with B-Shaw, you brought up too. The Clippers are, 2-4 on 2 or more days of rest? Is that right? Was it 1-4 or 2-4? One of those numbers.
I feel like they haven't had that much rest for that number to be correct, but I swear somebody had that 1-4.
Yeah, I think 1-4 is right. I did look it up earlier today during the press conferences. But for this Clipper group, it's just a tough task when you're used to playing every night, when you're used to traveling, when you're used to getting those legs under you. Now all of a sudden you have this extra time off, and we saw tonight that sometimes too much time off is too much time off, and then that kind of hurt the Clippers today. They weren't in rhythm. They weren't able to get out and running. The good news for them, only 2 days off. Then you got to play Utah, and then things start to pick up. They're going to go to Dallas, and you're playing every other day until Christmas. But for this Clipper team, a little rusty here today. I'm not too worried about it, because things that the coaches talked about were over that 4-game stretch that they wanted to work on was their half-court defense. And like we've said, I thought their half-court defense was very good today. I think they executed offensively. Adam, they got up nearly 40 threes in this. They got up 41 threes in this game, and they were on pace to get up 41 threes. This wasn't garbage time, where they were hucking and heaving to get the 40. The offensive movement was there, but they just didn't start hitting them until the game was essentially over at the end of the contest. I think they made 4 threes in those final 3 minutes of the ball game. A tough one for this Clipper team, because you felt like your process was there. You played the right defense in the half court, but it was the transition points and the turnovers that killed you in this contest.
Yeah, Nikola Jokic, who has been on a tear, it seemed like the break cooled him off, having 4 days off. He wasn't at his best tonight in this one. He has spoke about that in the past. He loves every other day playing. That keeps him in rhythm. He didn't look the same. Still doesn't matter. This Denver Nuggets team, they're a top 10 offense. They found other ways to score, and it was off of Clippers' miscues and mistakes out there. Still, you brought him up a little bit earlier with me, but Kevin Porter Jr., a bright spot, a silver lining in this one. He came in and immediately had an impact.
He did. I thought he was effective off the bench for a bench unit that was a little stalled out. He finishes with 16 points, 16 of the Clippers, of the majority of the Clippers bench points in this contest. He was able to get downhill. I thought he played good defense in this one, Adam. He had 2 steals and 4 assists, and was efficient, shooting 50% from the field. Kevin Porter Jr. just continues to look more comfortable with every single game. There's a reason he was the youngest guy in league history to have 50 points and 10 assists in a contest. He can score with the best of them, and we're seeing that, especially these tough shots at him. I mean, he's a tough shot maker when he gets inside the paint and he gets to that follow-away jumper. And for 90% of the league, that's a bad shot. But for Kevin Porter Jr., he's shooting at like 60% clip from that 5 to 10 foot range over there in the mid-range. So it's been fun to see him knock down those shots, be excellent on the offensive end. This Clipper group, an opportunity to regroup. I wonder, Adam, we saw Nico Batum to start, but he didn't play much in the second half of this ball game. We'll see if the Clippers change up how they want to play the starting lineup. Ty Lue was very complimentary of his group pregame. He said, one advantage we have is we have so many guys who you can insert into the starting lineup and take away, kind of plug and play, because they have a lot of lengthy, tall bigs or fours, really, when you think about guys like Nico Batum and Kevin Porter Jr. and Amir Coffey. I mean, all those guys could start for this Clipper team and have started for this Clipper team. So we'll see. I'm sure Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy. Well, Ty will be up till 4:30 watching the tape, and then Jeff will wake up at 4:30 to watch the tape. So someone's always going to be at the computer looking at this one for this Clipper team. I'm not too concerned. Those two will definitely be figuring out ways to find solutions for this Clippers group.
They're my inspiration for doing Clippers talk each and every day. When I see guys work that hard, I know I got to step my game up. Same with Carlo Jimenez. After the Clippers unfortunately fall 120-98 in Denver. Carlo,
can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
This is for the chat and for Clippers talk. No trades. No trade requests today, guys. Do not bring up a single trade idea. They've lost 3 in a row. It's not the end of the world. I don't want to listen to Clippers talk on the flight back and hear 800 trade requests.
Thanks for getting my back, bro. I'm going to replay that about 5 different times here in the post game. You guys heard Carlo Jimenez, all right? No trade talk. The first rule of Clippers talk, no trade talk, even after you lose 3 straight. But Carlo, hopefully a much sharper Clippers team Monday night back at home against the Utah Jazz. Tip time for that one's at 7:30. We got your pregame show at 6:30. We will see you then. Safe travels, my friend.
Safe travels, Adam. I get to see you in person on Monday. Let's go.
Clippers fall by 22. We got more post game coming up next right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers lose by 22 in Denver to the Nuggets. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. What up, Clipper Nation? Whether you're listening on AM 570 LA Sports or on the YouTube side at Clippers Talk, appreciate you. Tough loss for the Clippers. I understand it. Some people are going to be upset tonight, especially when I read this box score. The Clippers shot just 45% from the field. It's not awful, but the Denver Nuggets, after starting off slow, were at 55%. They went 10 of 29 from 3. The Clippers 14 of 41. They got up 41, but only hit 14, and a lot of those were coming in inconsequential time. They got a couple during garbage time late in the ball game. The story is the Clippers 19 turnovers. Denver did have 22, But the Denver Nuggets had 36 fast break points. The Clippers had 25, a great number. But Denver was 16 of 18 in fast break transition buckets. Clippers 10 of 16. They didn't convert as well as the Denver Nuggets, and that makes sense because the Denver Nuggets are the best fast break team in the league when it comes to fast break points. They average 18 per game. They doubled that against the Clippers with 36. And the Clippers were leading by 5, 2 minutes into the third quarter. Jamal Murray had a tough reverse layup on Ivica Zubac, and I thought, uh-oh, it was right out of a timeout. Here we go. The Denver Nuggets are about to lock in and focus in as they looked DOA to start the second half. They looked unfocused. I think Mike Malone got their attention in that timeout. And from then on, they outscored the Clippers by a wide margin. Even though I think the Clippers defense was fine when they could actually play half-court defense, but when you have 19 turnovers, yeah, it leads to a lot of easy buckets in transition. 36 for the Denver Nuggets. Your final box score for the Clippers, Kevin Porter Jr. had 16 off the bench to match Norman Powell's 16 with the starters. James Harden had 15 points and 6 assists, but 9 turnovers. And I want to say he had 6 in the first half. He looked completely out of sync and out of sorts out there after being out for the last 8 days. Remember, he didn't play that game on Sunday against the Houston Rockets. Did like the performance, as we talked about with Carlo Jimenez, from Kevin Porter Jr. Bones Highland, I understand the logic of putting him in. He's been hot from 3. He knocked down a couple late in this ball game when they were already down by 20. But Coach Lou was trying to lean into offense because defensively they were actually doing okay. Nikola Jokic, guys, had a meager 16 points, 16 and 7, 6 of 9 from the field. I think he had 9 points or 8 points in the first half. The Clippers had held him in check. Denver didn't look right either. But the Clippers made it too easy for them with turnover after turnover, especially in the second half after they had that brief 5-point lead early in the third quarter. Clippers fall 122-98 in Denver. Clippers' next ball game coming up Monday night, back against the Utah Jazz at Intuit Dome. More on that coming up here in your Clippers postgame show on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers lose by 22 in Denver, 120-98 was your final after the Clippers led by 5, 2 minutes into the third quarter. Denver would open things up. They did damage. They outscored the Clippers in the third, 35-22 and 37-29 in the fourth. And the Clippers were their own worst enemies. Far too many plays where they basically set the rake down and then stepped on it. Unforced turnovers. They were just giving the basketball up to the Denver Nuggets with 19 turnovers. Denver had 22, but the Clippers' 19 turnovers, that led to 36 fast break points for the Denver Nuggets. They doubled their season average in fast break points, where they're number 1 at 18 per game. They had 36. Clippers lose by 22 in Denver. Next contest coming up against the Utah Jazz Monday night. Kawhi bobblehead night at Intuit Dome. Tip-off is at 7:30. Pregame at 6:30 outside of Los Angeles. We are leaving you until then. Coming up next here on AM 570 LA Sports, we got Clippers Talk. There's a great underrated 90s flick called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead with Andy Garcia. And the Clippers, they got cooked in that second half. They lost by 22 to the Denver Nuggets. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland, 866-987-2570. If you would like to get on tonight on a Friday night and join me for some Clippers Talk after a tough loss where the Clippers were right there. And then it was gone. The game was gone. Denver ran away with it. And they ran away with it because they had 36 points in transition. Thanks to the Clippers' 19 turnovers. That'll do it. They went 16 of 18 in fast break points. I said pregame, one of my keys, you can't turn it over against Denver. They lead the league in fast break points at 18 per game. They doubled it and had 36. And there were opportunities still where the Clippers, as poorly as they were playing early on, they were right there. They were right there in the third quarter. And I hate to pull a receipt on myself in this way, but I tweeted it out right as it happened. Right as the turning point hit. And if you're watching on the YouTube side, if you're in the chat, I appreciate you. Or if you're listening on AM 570 LA Sports, I appreciate you. But it just felt like, and I tweeted it out at the time, that Jamal Murray, that reverse layup out of the timeout on Ivica Zubac gave them renewed energy and life out there. When Denver looked miserable to start things off in the third quarter. I'll show you guys in the chat. I said it as it happened. You could feel the momentum being ripped away from the Clippers with just that one play. Sometimes a dunk isn't just a dunk, a three isn't just a three, a block isn't just a block. They're momentum changing plays. And this was a crazy reverse layup by Jamal Murray. I said, Murray, tough layup. Here they come. That was pretty much it. Aaron Gordon then hit a three-pointer, and after the Clippers led by 5 early in the third, it was 55 all. Clippers continued to miss. Harden continued to turn it over, and he just looked completely out of sorts tonight. I compare it to how he looked in the preseason and earlier this season. When James Harden got off to the slow start and was turning the ball over relentlessly. Tonight, a lot of those turnovers are laying at the feet of James Harden. The Clippers had momentum after Nico Batum knocked down back-to-back three-pointers early in the third quarter, and the Denver Nuggets were turning it over themselves. They had more turnovers than the Clippers. They were a mess. They had 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter. The Clippers' defense was incredible. Their half-court defense was good. You're going to look at the final box score and say, what do you mean, Adam? They gave up 120. Yeah, because they got 36 points in transition because the Clippers' offense failed their defense. That's what you saw tonight. That's what you've seen a lot this season. They got a top 5 defense. They got close to a bottom 5 offense. Kawhi cannot come back soon enough. He's got a bobblehead night on Monday. We had Lob Murray on in the pregame show. He doesn't believe Kawhi will be back for that game. They're taking on Utah. They shouldn't need him back for that game if they play a much crisper, sharper ball game than they did. I mean, Murray turned it over to start the third quarter after the Clippers were down 48-47 at the half. After they battled, being down, what were they? At one point in that first half, I want to say they were down by 12. They battled, even though they almost lost the non-Jokic minutes in the first half. That was disappointing. They were down by as many as 13 in the first half. The Clippers started 3 for 13 from 3. But then they started to hit some. And by some, I mean some. They were tough from the outside. Overall, the Clippers ended up 14 of 41. That's 34% from 3. But after being down 13, at the end of the second quarter, when the starters came back in and James Harden wasn't turning it over, the Clippers made a great run. They had the lead there too. These are the 2 turning points that decide a game to me. I don't want to oversimplify it. I don't think I am. These are critical, pivotal moments of the game that end up typically deciding things. It's a run here or there that you're not able to come back from or overcome. Because with the Clippers being down by 13, it was, let's see here, 38-26. I didn't think they were going to score 40 before the end of the first half at one point. I was that concerned. Their offense was brutal. DeAndre Jordan gets that alley-oop from Russell Westbrook. early second quarter. Denver's up 36-23. That's at the 9:45 mark. And by, let's see here. Let me scroll down a little bit more. By the 4-minute mark, so about 6 minutes later, the Clippers have a 1-point lead at 39-38 after a Norman Powell three-pointer. The starters got them right back in it when they didn't turn the basketball over, when they were getting shots up, when they could actually hit threes. Some of this, I think, is just the rust factor. Not rust. If Russell Westbrook got his revenge game out, way to go. I don't think he had some monster game. He had a couple good defensive possessions in the second half. He was talking junk to the Clippers bench, but this wasn't about Russ. It was about rust. And the Clippers having a substantial amount of it. I have some WD-40 in studio here that I want to bring to Denver. Oil them up like the Tin Man. 4 days off for the Clippers, but remember, 8 days off for James Harden. He didn't play Sunday. Now, did he deserve the time off? Yes. But you could see it out there. He wasn't right. He didn't look like James Harden. It looked like a preseason game when he had multiple games around double-digit turnovers. But again, the Clippers down 13 in the second quarter. They bounced back. Denver did get a couple of big buckets to end the half after a James Harden turnover. Christian Brown, easy layup. Christian Brown, another easy layup. And Nikola Jokic hitting a three-pointer. Clippers easily could have had the lead heading into the half, which is somewhat remarkable with how bad they looked early on, down by 13. But it's the third quarter to me, guys. That's it. Denver was on the ropes. They looked miserable out there. They looked like a team that was broken. 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter. Coming out of the half, apparently at that point, Mike Malone's message did not resonate with them. That timeout, after Nico Batum hit that second three-pointer, that was it. At the 9:31 mark, Clippers are up 55-50. Jamal Murray comes out and hits a wild reverse layup over Ivica Zubac. Jamal Murray is not having a good season. I'm sure it boosted morale seeing him make an explosive play like that, like he was doing pre-ACL, like he was doing last season or during their championship run. He just has not looked good going back to playing for Canada this summer. You get that layup, it's 55-52 Clippers. Then James Harden misses a floater and Aaron Gordon hits a three-pointer, tie game. Norm Powell, to his credit, knocked down a three. After struggling tonight, Jamal Murray goes to the free throw line. Norm Powell misses a three. Then you have Christian Brown getting another easy one off of a James Harden bad pass. Denver's up 59-58. I think they would not relinquish the lead at that point, the 7:36 mark of the third quarter on. I don't think they ever gave it back. In fact, as I scroll down here, it's confirming it. Yeah, that was it. That was it. The 7:36 mark, turnover James Harden, Christian Brown, easy one, 59-58. Denver would never trail again for the last 18 minutes of the game. Make it 20 minutes of the game. Math is hard. Michael Porter Jr. hits that big three. Aaron Gordon gets fouled. Clippers defense wasn't terrible, but they can't score. They can turn it over. They can't score. They had a backcourt violation in the third quarter. They're down 68-60. They need something, anything, and they have a backcourt violation. Michael Porter Jr., another three. He had some backbreakers. And then Nikola Jokic went on a little bit of a run. Russell Westbrook even hit a free throw, went 1 of 2. But Jokic hit a three-pointer at 77-63. The Clippers are just drowning. Clippers down heading into the fourth quarter by a score of 83-69. They were up by 5 2 minutes into the third quarter. They fell apart on offense, and it affected their defense because it's hard to play in transition and scramble and cover for somebody else typically in those cross matchups when you're running back on defense when they're on a fast break. Clippers lose this one by a final of 120-98. Coming up, we'll read the comments. We'll take your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. Clippers dropped to 14-12 on the season. We'll update you on the Western Conference standings coming up too. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Chicka. Clippers lose by 22. Clippers fall 120-98 in Denver to the Nuggets. I'm Adam Osland. Welcome back in. This is Clippers Talk on AM 570 LA Sports and at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. Appreciate everybody in here. I know there are some disgruntled fans tonight with some of the lineups from Coach Lou. Maybe we'll hear from Coach Lou at some point here if we can find some post-game audio. As I looked at Katie Newton, who's got a foot out the door because she's done in like a week, and her replacement, Daniel West, is now our producer here for Clippers Talk for your Clippers broadcast. More from Daniel coming up here, but I want to hear from Coach Lou after this one because while some of it can be attributed to cold shooting, ice cold, Andre 3000, ice cold shooting. Some of it is completely on the Clippers with unforced errors, miscues, poor timing out there. And maybe it's understandable because of the schedule and having 4 days off and James Harden being out for 8 days. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe that's it. Denver looked sloppy too. It was not a great or well-played basketball game out there whatsoever. Denver had 22 turnovers. Clippers had 19. Clippers lost a game where they got up 6 more shots. They did, for the first time, though, against Denver this season, lose the rebounding battle. Some of that is because the Clippers were missing more, but some of it was just I don't know, them not being sharp enough even when it came to cleaning the glass. That is an effort thing. It's crazy because there were a couple touch passes in this game, a couple of them from Ivica Zubac that were incredible. One of them the Clippers didn't convert on, but like high level basketball stuff. Harden had in the second quarter a steal and a pass to Zubac between Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. for a big dunk that was spectacular. And the Clippers went on a 21-2 run in the second quarter when Harden was playing like himself. Zoo had that spinning dunk on Michael Porter Jr. There were just a couple of highlights from a passing standpoint that contradict a game where the Clippers have 19 turnovers. It's like they had some of their best passes in this game and then also their worst. Just polar opposites, opposite ends of the spectrum there from the Clippers. I couldn't believe what I was seeing at times. It seemed like they were capable. In the third quarter, there was some amazing ball movement on a Harden to Zoo to Batum to Norm play. I think they were down by 2, and Norm Powell missed the 3 on the left wing. It was incredible passing. Zubac had, I mentioned that pass earlier. I'm trying to think who that was to. But Chris Dunn, he had a really nice pass in this ball game. It makes no sense. At times, they look locked in, focused, sharp. At times, they looked like a team that hadn't played in 4 days, and their best player hadn't played in 8 days. I don't want to let them off the hook because of that, but I don't know how else to explain some of these turnovers we saw. Same from Denver's standpoint, what they were doing. Both teams were extremely careless with the basketball. It looked like their rhythm and timing wasn't there. Is that fair to say? It wasn't just James Harden. Yes, he had nine turnovers. 9 of their 19. That's significant. But Jokic had some bad plays, as you don't normally see. Chris Dunn, who had 4 steals in the first half, was making incredible plays out there and almost ripped one from Jokic as he sagged off of and cheated off of Aaron Gordon, which typically means Jokic is going to find Aaron Gordon because he has eyes in the back of his head. And instead, Chris Dunn got a piece of it, but it went out of bounds. It looked like he was about to have, I think, 2 steals or 3 steals in a row. But the Clippers lose 120-98 to the Denver Nuggets. And some people in here are talking about the lineups. And specifically, KPJ and Bones Highland being out there. And if you're watching on the YouTube live side, you can see that Himothy, he is him, put up their net rating. In 60 minutes, that 2-man lineup, not that it's just 2-on-5 or something like that, but when those two are on the court together in the 60 minutes they've been out there so far this season, they have an offensive rating of 93. That is extremely bad. Average offensive rating is like 111, average. Good offensive rating is about 120. So when I tell you that, listen to their defensive rating, 133. A minus 40 net rating. Does Coach Lou have many options right now? Do I think it's understandable that he would try it because it hasn't been huge minutes yet? Even though you could say, in theory, you could see how those two guys wouldn't play well together. He was looking to juice up the offense. The defense, I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. had a good game. I will say that. He came in, made an impact right away. A small bright spot. He came in around the 3-minute mark when there was 3 minutes left in the second quarter. He missed a jumper, but then had a great pass to Mo Bamba for a dunk where he left it for him. He made a three early second quarter, a tough layup. I thought he was aggressive, assertive, and obviously could get his own shot and create for himself. Bones Highland, he came in right around the same time. It's a 21-17 Denver Nuggets lead, and most of his scoring was done during inconsequential time. He couldn't find the bottom of the net like many Clippers players because the first quarter, they started off 3 for 13 from 3. The second quarter, they went 3 for 10 from 3. The third quarter, they went, what was that, 3 for 8 from 3? A little bit better. And then the fourth quarter, who cares? They were down. They were down 22. Coach Lou pulled James Harden. That was the end of the game. And that was after, appropriately so, another bad turnover leading to an easy bucket. I want to say it was Christian Brown again. No, Julian Strother with the dunk to put him up by 22. After a Bones turnover, I think Russell Westbrook poked it away. He played some good defense. He was taunting the Clippers bench a little bit. Russ was on his revenge stuff, even though his shot still was evading him, you could say. Russell Westbrook, where did he end up shooting in this game? One of my box scores, the ESPN site has not even worked once tonight. Like their game log, I've seen this happen before where, the first quarter, it's not working. I've never seen it go this long where the entire game, nobody decided to update it. In fact, I hit him up on X with a strongly worded letter. Very strong. Russell Westbrook was 2 of 9. 0 of 3 from 3. So let's see here. He is 2 of 9. 5 for 28 in 3 games against the Clippers so far this season. 5 for 28. I get it. Your team won. Victor go the spoils. But he was talking a lot for a guy that's 5 of 28. But hey, he had some solid defensive plays in this one. Everybody else was dealing with the evil 4-letter like I was. I was dropping some 4 letters, trying to get that thing to work. I rely on that. Some people are saying it's overlapping play when you have Kevin Porter Jr. out there, when you have him next to Bones Highland. I get that. They're similar. Bones is a better 3-point shooter. Not really tonight. Clippers lose 120-98. Coming up, I think we got some post-game audio from Coach Lou. I'm going to be able to find it, Katie. Whatever. You took tonight off. That's fine. But I'm going to find it. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Clippers talk. We got you till the bottom of the hour here. If you're listening on the YouTube side or on AM 570 LA Sports, appreciate you guys. After the Clippers drop one badly in Denver, they lose by 22. They're 14-12 on the season. We'll update you on the standings coming up. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to AM 570 LA Sports. Yeah, some are saying, my guy Matt Warren in the chat, it wasn't Michael Myers on Friday the 13th. It was Mike Malone who took apart the Clippers as the Nuggets dissected them to win by 22. Final score 120-98. Denver over your Los Angeles Clippers. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports and at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. I know some of you guys are gloating about Russell Westbrook being 5 of 28 from the field in 3 games against the Clippers. But Denver won tonight, so Russ gets to talk. He was doing some chirping. He was barking over at the Clippers bench after a couple defensive plays, and the defense was solid. It was. We saw some of that in his time with the Clippers. We didn't see as much in the playoff series against Dallas, where I think in the last 5 games of that series, he was 8 for 42, something like that. He struggled, but he's made an impact with the Denver Nuggets because they're playing at a much faster pace. They basically went from bottom 5 in pace last season to top 5 in pace this season. A lot of that is the Russell Westbrook effect. We got some audio. Make it just quotes. I get confused. There is a difference sometimes. This comes from Joey Lynn. Ty Lue said Chris Dunn kept asking to come out of the game, which is why he only played 21 minutes tonight. He is still recovering from an illness, and the altitude was affecting him. Man, you could see it too. Chris Dunn got that dog in him. But next to that are his lungs, and apparently coming off the illness, he still doesn't feel right. He doesn't have his cardio back. So a little bit concerning. Joey Lynn also caught up with Russell Westbrook post-game. Russ was very appreciative of the tribute video that he got back in LA against the Clippers, but a week ago. Russ said, quote, "It was actually surprising, to be honest. I'm grateful for that. Shout out to Ballmer and the entire Clippers organization for taking me in and welcoming me. They embraced me and what I brought to the game, and the fans showed that. I'm appreciative and grateful for that." That's cool. I like seeing that from Russ. And they won the game. Russ gets to talk like that. And guys love Russ, regardless. He is an all-time player favorite. That's who he's been. Yeah, hopefully Chris Dunn gets better because they need him. And he's been dealing with this illness now for, I don't know, a week or more. Been under the weather, been playing through it because he was sick against, maybe a little bit less than a week. He was sick in the game against the Houston Rockets last Sunday, and he played through it. He tried to push through it. Something else I saw post-game was from the Denver Nuggets side on X. And they got something called the Defensive Player of the Game chain. And who got it? Jamal Murray. He was flexing with it. Mike Malone gave it to him. And the reason for that is he was guarding Norman Powell a lot. And Norm, coming into this game, had his way with the Denver Nuggets. With 37 the first game, where I think he had 22 points in the fourth quarter of that one against Denver in that big victory. It was the second game of the season for the Clippers. And then the second game, he had 28 or 29. And he came in shooting 12 of 19 from 3 against Denver. That's 63%. And tonight was just 3 of 10, 6 of 14 overall, had 16 points. Jamal Murray took up the challenge, played much better on the defensive end. That is the weakness with the Denver Nuggets. Last season, they were top 10 defensively. Coming into this one, they were 16th. Tonight, they look better there, but the Clippers made them look pretty damn good, too, at times because of all the turnovers, because of the sloppy play, the erratic passes that just seem to be a bit outside. Same with the Denver Nuggets. Both teams didn't look like themselves, but Denver has the talent advantage. They have Nikola Jokic. And even though he didn't have a great game, Jamal Murray, not just his defense, but he had 20 points. And I do think he ignited them with that reverse layup early in the third quarter. I think that was a big shot. So Clippers lose 120-98. Denver took control, and they ran away with this one. We'll take one more time out here. 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number, and we'll preview a little bit of Monday night's game. Kawhi Leonard bobblehead night. Could that portend something? I don't think so. We talked with Lamar earlier. I don't think he's playing on Monday. I think it's too soon. Maybe later next week when they're in Dallas or Memphis. He's got to go through contact practices first, guys. I don't think he can ramp up fast enough to be there on Monday, nor should he have to against the Utah Jazz. We'll update you on their score tonight and talk about what this Jazz team and why they've been struggling so much so far this season. Clippers lose by 22 in Denver. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to AM 570 LA Sports. The song hits a lot harder before tip-off and not after they lose by 22, but I'm still with it. Clippers fall in Denver 120-98. Clippers had 19 turnovers. Denver Nuggets had 36 points, fast break points. That is double their season average, which is the highest in the league at 18 points per game. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports and at Clippers Talk on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. I do want to caution some people in here. When there's a loss like this, we tend to try to take too much out of it, extrapolate, and make these long-reaching conclusions about where the team is or is this player still good. People are questioning Jordan Miller tonight. Himothy says, Adam, do you think we are too high on Jordan Miller? He is terrible by a lot of impact metrics. Absent said, Miller got to try other moves besides the deceleration step. Russ was timing him tonight, and other teams will begin timing him too. It's a cat and mouse game, a game of adjustments with young players as there's more tape out there and scouts are paying attention. And Russ did rip him once, maybe twice, when he got to the basket. I'm a big Jordan Miller fan, and nothing that I've seen so far has changed that. Even though his first miss was a really bad way off three, Even though, Russell Westbrook got the best of him at the basket, he's a young player in this league that hasn't given enough minutes out there to say whether or not those metrics, the advanced numbers, are meaningful or something you should read into at this time. I'm not going there. I think you have to give him a lot more time. And with no Terrence Mann, I saw DeAndre Jordan tonight, with no Derrick Jones Jr., you got to remember that part of the equation tonight for the Clippers. Jordan Miller should continue to get some minutes. Would I like to see less of the KPJ Bones Highland minutes? Probably at this point. You know my feelings about Bones Highland. I'm not sure if he's long for being a Clipper once December 15th opens up and more guys are eligible to be traded. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity right now. And I thought it made some sense because he was 10 for his last 20 from 3 the last 2 games to give him run against Denver when you need some offense. He just didn't have his best game out there. Sometimes guys get overly psyched up to go against their former employer, especially when there was some bad blood between he and Jamal Murray. KPJ, I thought was solid. I thought he was good. But should those two be playing on the court next to one another? The Clippers are in a position right now where if they don't play Batum more minutes, he didn't play many in the second half after he hit those 2 big 3-pointers to start the third. If they don't play him enough, they don't play Amir enough, you're going to see those two out there. Will you see him Monday night against the Utah Jazz? Probably. Utah has, I say that and I think of PMS right away. Utah, give me 2. Point Break. They've lost 7 of 8. They just lost tonight to the Phoenix Suns. They were competitive. They were at home. They lost 134 to 126. We were monitoring that game. It was closer than that. But they're 5-19. They're the worst team in the Western Conference record-wise. Actually, you know what? The New Orleans Pelicans have played a couple more games and they're 5-21. They're a mess. All kinds of injuries. But as our friend Will Updike would say, you're not playing the record. A team can step up and beat you. Portland did it to the Clippers. Probably shouldn't have happened. But those losses typically happen over an 82-game season to everyone. The Clippers cannot overlook this Utah Jazz team just because of the record. They shouldn't be this bad. It's mostly the same team that got off to the hot start last season. And everybody was like, wow, how is Utah at the top of the West for like 3 days? It didn't last. We know they might be trying to capture the flag, and Danny Ainge has his sights on other things. But Markkanen has not looked right so far this season. Overall, that first game against the Clippers, I was shocked at how poorly he played. And just, I don't know, looked like a lack of intensity out there. I have great respect for him. He's a very good player. He was just 6 of 12 in his 39 minutes against the Clippers. He took 12 shots in 39 minutes. That's it. When that's your best player. And the Clippers won that first matchup 116 to 105. That was back on November 17th. Markkanen finished with 18 points. He's coming off a game tonight. Yes, he had 19. The game before that, he had 8. The game before that, he had 13. I don't know what's going on. I know he got paid. I don't think he's resting on his laurels or anything like that. I'm not going to accuse a guy of that. Maybe just slow start to the year for whatever reason. But with him, Walker Kessler being back, Colin Sexton, John Collins, Jordan Clarkson off the bench, they're not devoid of talent. You can't tell me this Utah Jazz team on paper doesn't look better than their actual record. They do. They should be better. So the Clippers have to be much sharper with their play. And those unforced errors hopefully get cleaned up over the next 2 days because the Clippers have more time off. So James Harden will have played, 1 game in 10 days now? Before we get to Monday? I'm hoping he looks more like himself. The Clippers need him to be the guy who I was talking about being an under or rated or dark horse for the MVP conversation because he's been that good so far this season. And he's the main reason the Clippers are still 2 games above 500 without Kawhi Leonard. So Monday night, tip off at Intuit Dome at 7:30, pregame show at 6:30. It is Kawhi Leonard bobblehead night. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez, Big Brother Jake Warner. Thinking about you, bro. Back here in the studio, executive producer, Katie Newton. New producer, Daniel West. Dan the man, happy to have you. I hope this has been a positive experience so far. I didn't freak out that much just because they got down 20, did I? I didn't throw anything, just Kleenex. The callers, the chatters, appreciate you guys. Outside of Los Angeles, we'll talk to you on Monday night. But of course, more Clippers talk on the YouTube side over the next 2 days. I'm Adam Oz, and we'll talk to you then.